Hi everyone, welcome back to Round the Business Work with Jia. Today I'm here with a very special guest, Mr. Yash Bhargava. He is a young, talented designer and marketing expert, and someone who I'm also definitely extremely honored to call a friend. And he has guided me through several of my endeavors as well. He is an open minded and young individual who I'm extremely excited to know more about.
Hi, Gia. Thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, and I hope this is fun.
All right, me too. I'm sure it will be. All right, so this interview is divided into three separate segments. First is the rapid fire round, second is the childhood and early life, and the third is the work life and more. So I'm going to
Okay.
start off with the rapid fire question so that, that's a bit more fun and I hope you enjoy it. So my first question is, can you describe yourself in three words?
So that would be I'm an agile learner. I'm a perfectionist, and I am a procrastinator.
All right, perfect. What is your biggest strength?
My biggest strength would be that I kind of always take it to the next level, and I think just want to go beyond satisfactory. So I think that would be it.
Okay. What is the biggest learning experience you've had?
The biggest learning experience I've had would be that only commit what you can deliver. Try to not take a lot in your plate on your plate.
All right. What's your biggest weakness?
My biggest weakness would be my I don't know discipline to kind of just no, actually not discipline really. I should put it as more like I'm a little lazy at times. That becomes slightly a weakness for me.
All right. What are three things you can't live without?
I can't live without my phone. Um, I can't live without my playlist, and I can't live without Blu-rays.
Green haze is better. All right. What's the biggest piece of advice you've got?
Biggest piece of advice that I've got is not to kind of always chase perfection. Sometimes that takes up a lot of time, so you have to choose your battles. So I think that would be really that's something I've applied and has helped me tremendously.
If you could switch lives for a day with one person, who would it be?
That would be Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple.
Yeah. What's the best thing you've learned in 2020?
In 2020, I've learned how to live without friends and kind of just being by myself. That's
All right.
important.
All right. So that was the first segment. We're now moving on to the next segment, which is your childhood and your early life. And definitely we
Mhm.
can start your childhood segment with, can you describe your childhood in a few lines?
My childhood was fairly normal. The only different thing, or maybe an unconventional thing about it, is that I was in a boarding school. So that was slightly different, but it was super fun. And I think I wouldn't trade it for anything. And yeah, it was just a lot of all round holistic kind of childhood. I would say we had our sports, we had our extracurriculars, and then academics, and then in the end, having your friends 24/7 by you. I think that was one of the coolest things about boarding school, is the friendships and bonds you form with not just your batchmates, but also your juniors and your seniors. So yeah, I think boarding was the most interesting childhood I could have asked for.
When you were 12, what did you want to be?
When I was 12, I wanted to be an F1 race car driver.
That's nice.
I
That's
was
interesting.
fascinated by cars, and I was fascinated with speed, and I thought that it is something that is doable. And later I realized, of course, one is our country does not have that kind of an infrastructure to support those kind of ambitions. But you're 12, what can you do?
All right. You're one of the few people in our country that have visited Pakistan and celebrated Diwali there. Can you tell us how did this happen?
Right. So I was part of my school contingent for a Model United Nations conference hosted by a sister school of ours in Lahore. And we crossed the Wagah border, and it was Diwali. At that time, they were super sweet. about it, and they made sure that we didn't miss the Diwali celebration. So they got the Ganesh Murti from the city's museum for the puja, and they were able to arrange crackers and stuff like that. So I think I was shocked and I was surprised, but I think the school's hospitality was just amazing. They were just lovely, lovely people, and in general, whoever I met in Pakistan, the people there were very warm and very welcoming. And, I think it was one of my best experiences in life. My only kind of regret is that I think I had it while I was too young. Maybe I could have explored a little more of it if I was left independent, which I do in my travels now. But yeah, I think as an experience, I think it was completely surreal. Just crossing Wagah border on foot, and I remember because a lot of people were kind of assembling for that parade, that guard of honor that happens at Wagah border, and we were half an hour before that, and we decided to kind of cross it at that point. And they're all looking at us and they're wondering, we're all sitting up for the parade and these guys are crossing the border. So I think it was definitely one of the greatest experiences. Yes.
Definitely must have been. It sounds interesting. How did you find out your calling was design?
I found out my calling was design accidentally. Right, I wasn't into art and stuff in school. But when I started my first startup, and we were not a design agency at first, we were a telemarketing agency. And this one day, one client of ours said that, yeah, okay, you can, you can do all of this, but can you also help me with my social media? And I don't know how to use Facebook and stuff. So that's when we realized never say no to incoming work, and we said yes, we'll figure it out. I mean, of course, we were a generation that has grown up with the internet, so how hard could it be? And so we just took it up, and I hired a design intern, and I told him that we have to make a few creatives and stuff like that for the Facebook page. And while he was making it, I mean, he made it, and I just didn't like it. I'm like, this doesn't look really good. Or and then I said, what if you change the color here? What if you kind of use different font? And the newer version was much better, and that's kind of when I realized that I don't know if I can design, but I definitely have a knack for superior aesthetics, which then I kind of learned designing from that design intern, and then I was able to create all of these things by myself. And then of course YouTube kind of came to save me, and I learned more. And then eventually, yeah, now I wouldn't say I'm amazing at design technically, but yeah, I think I can definitely guide a team of designers and illustrators on what to achieve.
All right. So now that we're done with the first two segments, we're moving on to the next segment, which is your work life and more. So, leading,
Mhm.
I think you gave us a small gist about that you had your own startup. So, I'm just going to lead you to the first question of the third segment, which is your first venture was an independent creative agency called Shining Armor, and this landed you on the front page of a leading newspaper. How did this happen?
Right. So we were doing fairly decent in our startup by then. We had, I think, completed 2 years, and we had worked with some automotive brands, some hospitality brands, and then at one of these business networking events, I happened to bump into one of the Book My Show co-founders, and I told him my story because he was there as a mentor. So I told him my story, and he was very pleased to hear it, and he was impressed. So he said that, listen, I have this journalist who's doing a story on startups, and her another segment is young entrepreneurs or teenage CEOs. So can I put you in touch with her? And I said, yeah, sure, go ahead. And then I met the journalist. Her name was Humaira, and we spoke, and I told her my story and what we're doing and what we're building, and how I'm doing it while I'm studying in college and stuff like that. So I think it was a good conversation. I was very nervous because I didn't know what to say, what not to say. No, I had no media training per se, but it went well, and I still remember it was 1st of June, and I was hoping that it's and I mean there was no, I did not have any benchmark that it's gonna, where it's gonna appear or something. I thought it would be something, some inside special feature or edition, but it kind of came on the first page of Hindustan Times, and I was just blown away. I did not expect that. So yeah, life completely changed after that. So
That
that's
sounds
that's how, yeah.
that sounds like a dream, honestly. All right.
Yeah, it did feel
What
like a dream.
what made you move from your entrepreneurial venture to working for an organization?
I wanted to learn how to build an organization. I think I was learning on the job when I had my startup. Right, one day it's an organization building challenge, the other day is a design challenge, and I just felt that I could not do justice to both. And I think that is why I thought that I still need to learn more. I need to understand how to build organizations, how do structured organizations work. How does delegation take place? What's the role of HR? Because I think employee retention was an issue that I faced in my startup, and I did not know why. So that's the reason, I had to kind of decided to venture out and learn while working in an organization. So that's how I switched from Shining Armor to Avendus.
All right. All right. Now, where do you find your inspiration?
I find my inspiration on these sites, on design sites and creative portfolio platforms where people put up their portfolios, or where award-winning design work is displayed. So I always kind of look at them, and I definitely look at international projects, because I think, no offense to the local design style that is there of India. I mean, I think that is fantastic. But I think as a country, we still, are slightly primitive compared to, the West when it comes to aesthetics and design. I think, and that's one of the reasons why, if you look at our government websites and if you look at their government websites, or any kind of collateral per se, you will see a lot of difference. I mean, you just step out and you would see some political parties billboard on a signal, and how they're, what I mean, how they're designed and what they speak. It's all very weird photographs and stuff like that. So basically, yeah, I look at global standards and international design patterns for my inspiration.
All right. Can you describe your creative process?
My creative process would be to design my first point of entry, my first page. Right. So if I'm doing a presentation, or if I'm designing a collateral, or even if I'm designing a website or a mobile app, I always kind of start with what's the first thing that my user, or the recipient of that collateral, is going to see. Right. So the first thing is often either it will be the cover page. What is it that's going to make them pick up that thing? Right. If it's kept with a bunch of brochures, or if it's kept in your on a particular table, what is it that will drive that person to pick that book up, or to pick that brochure up? I think, and that's always the cover page, right? Or when it's part of the website, it's always the landing page or the home page of a website. So I think my process starts by really putting it all on the first page to begin with, because that's how I kind of establish the mood and the tone of the work, and from that I kind of go forward. So I don't know, it's for every designer the process is very different. This is what works for me, and I'm really happy with that process.
All right. So, you're a remarkable designer and you've worked on several different projects. What has been your best work which you've produced?
My best work is always my next work, because Yeah, I mean, I'm always trying to improve with every project, and honestly, it's not even, I'm not even talking about the big ones. Even if I'm designing something for LinkedIn, I think I just try to make it, what can I learn from the previous ones? I look at certain data points. I'm like, okay, this particular post did not do well. Is it because it was the content or was it the design? So I try to kind of, I'm like, okay, maybe the text was too much in this, and maybe it looked good, but I think it was too overwhelming with text. So I try to, so yeah, the next would be always my better or best one.
All right. I like that answer a lot. All right.
Okay.
What has been your key achievement or moment of success?
My moment of success would be heading or joining Waterfield and kind of heading its marketing department, or basically just the trust that Soumya has shown our CEO uh, by giving me a chance to lead the marketing and communications at Waterfield. I think that's been my greatest achievement, and that does not take away from any of the things that I've done in my startup, but I feel that it's been a while, since I was in my startup, and I think even though I've had big clients and in my startup, and we've done some amazing projects, I think just in Waterfield is a upcoming brand. It's really kind of growing up. It's out there, and I feel that the work that I've been able to do in the last 1.5 years to even if to move that needle, even if it's by very little, I think that's been my greatest achievement yet.
Mhm. All right. You're a huge fan of Amsterdam. What draws you to that particular place?
Amsterdam, not what people would think would draw me to that place, but it's the city's superior sense of design. You find these amazing small elements of design spread across the city, and at places where you'd least expect to find something. You're walking down a cobblestone path, and suddenly you see one of these cobblestones would be very different from the others, and if you kind of look if you kind of look at it, and you sit down and kind of you'll find that it's got some ship that's on it with lovely engraving, and you're like, this is so random, right? All in middle of a cemented cobble street kind of path, you find this one weird looking tile. So I think their entire country is built on superior user experience, right from their stores. They have these in the train stations. They have these amazing small stores where there's no manpower. You just kind of go there, pick what you want, and it kind of through an RFID tracks what you're picking up from the shelves. It's like the Amazon Fresh store concept, but it was put in Amsterdam much before Amazon made it commercial. So I think in general, I just love the entire design centricity and the user experience of that city. That's the reason I love Amsterdam.
All right. It's an amazing place, definitely. All right. Now, what advice would you give to young students out there that aspire to move towards the marketing field or the marketing field?
To young students, I would say to really work on their, portfolio of work. Not just, this is not pertaining to designers, right? When I say portfolio work, is that a lot of people start thinking that, okay, this is not the dream company that I thought I would get in, or this is not a very high paying job. And to all of those people, I just have one advice to give, is that keep working. Don't think that it's just because the salary is low that I'm not going to do this job, because you're going to learn so much about yourself, more importantly than the work. The first couple of years of you working is is less about the work that you do and more about yourself, right? When you first start to go to a 9 to 5 job, or you decide to start your side hustle, or your own startup, you're going to figure out who you are as a person. You will start figuring out, okay, listen, I'm a person who can do 9 to 5. I'm a person who's a workaholic, right? I can sit till 2 in the night and complete it. I'm a person who is, easily distracted, right? So you learn a lot about yourself in those first couple of years. So if you think that you're going to wait for that perfect opportunity, you're going to be losing a lot of time discovering yourself. Because the quicker you know who you are, the quicker you know your working style and the way you work, the faster you will be able to change it or learn from it and apply it to your next job or your next project. And I think that gives you a very high competitive advantage against your peers who kind of decided to wait for that opportunity. So I would say that never kind of give yourself um, that 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 ideology that I'm gonna kind of wait for my perfect job or my perfect salary or my perfect. So yeah, I think constantly uh, keep looking at your projects, how you're doing, what kind of why did it go wrong and kind of stuff, and just figure yourself out.
All right. Now, my last question is, what are your goals for 2021?
My goals for 2021 is to do something. It's 10 years of Waterfield, right? So my goal for 2021 is to make Waterfield even bigger, where I'm working at. We've seen tremendous traction in terms of our brand perception in the last 1 year, and I want to maintain that. I want to build on that. And now that my first 1.5 years is over at Waterfield, where it was a lot about standardization and augmenting the brand per se, uh, now it's time to kind of build on what I have kind of been able to achieve until now, the brand image, and to try out some new things. 2021 is all about. 2020 did not let us try anything new. Um, so I'm hoping that in 2021 I can do some innovative projects with Waterfield, and I hope that they're a success.
All right, perfect. So that concludes it for all the three segments. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed. I'm sure everyone watching, especially the students, would definitely take in your advice and was inspired by your career path, especially the fact that you were so young when you achieved something so big, like starting your own startup like Shining Armor. I'm so glad you were able to come for this particular interview. It was amazing interviewing you.
Thank you, Gia. And it was absolutely delightful to talk to you. I really enjoyed the questions, and so good work on that. And I'm happy to have helped whoever watches this and is able to kind of take in some of the advice that I have for them. But it's been super fun, and I like what you're doing, and I hope you keep continuing to do this, and you achieve a lot of success in the viewership category of this. So good stuff.
All right. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed. Thank
Thank
you.
you.